Meet my cousin Michael. Michael has been gaming on a console since the beginning of time, but recently decided he wants to ascend into the PC master race. He's planning on building his very first PC this December, but the problem is he doesn't know anything about PCs. Well, it so happens that his cousin has a YouTube channel with nearly 3 million subscribers that does PC content, so naturally, I offered to show him the ropes. I told him that Intel is sponsoring a video on the channel where I get to show a noob on how to build their very first PC, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to show him how it's done. But little does he know, he actually gets to keep the PC after we're done building it. Michael's also a really good guy and is in a tough spot financially, so I thought this would be a really great surprise for him just in time for Christmas. And of course, I do want to give a huge thanks to Intel and Best Buy for making this video possible. With live events on hold, it's not possible to go out and meet new people or experience new gaming events. But with Intel's Master of Game, all that is about to change. Intel is building this awesome digital fan engagement platform where everyone can still engage with the community directly. With the Master of Game app, you can watch Intel Extreme Masters Global Challenges and learn how to master your game at home. Fans will also be rewarded within the platform with gear, merch, and even a new PC by doing certain things like watching the Intel Extreme Masters Global Challenges, playing with your squad to compete for the top of the leaderboard, and finally sharing with your social network. The sweepstake only lasts between December 14th through the 28th, so make sure to check out Master of Game now by clicking on the link down below. Alright, so we're going to be shopping on bestbuy.com to make this process as easy and painless as possible. I also went undercover earlier today and I spoke with Michael to find out what parts he is planning on getting for his PC in December so that we can build something similar to what he wants. That way he is kind of familiar with all the parts when the time comes.
Hello?
Michael, what's going on, man?
Not much, man.
Okay, man. I thought I'd give you a call. We can kind of go over the parts for the build we're going to be doing in a few weeks. It shouldn't take that long, maybe about like 20 minutes or so. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
All right, so first question, I guess, is do you have a preference for the CPU?
I definitely want to go with Intel.
Okay, any reason why?
Well, I did some research, and I think the games I'm going to run better on Intel, like chips. And also the programs that I want to use for editing and are better optimized on Intel processors.
Okay. You're going to be editing videos?
Yeah, I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to stream games and edit my videos as well.
Oh, that's cool. All right, then. All right, he did tell me that he wants to go with an Intel processor because of optimization. He stated that the games and applications he's going to be using, Intel CPUs are better optimized for it. And he is planning on starting a YouTube channel too, so he's going to be streaming and editing videos. So definitely want more cores and threads to take advantage of multi-threaded applications. So let's go to the CPU category, which is under computer and tablets, computer components, and then CPUs and processors. We're gonna filter Intel. I do want to go with Intel's newest 10th gen Core i7 processors. So I think we'll go with the 10700K. This is an 8-core 16-thread processor with a 5.1 gigahertz turbo clock. He did state his budget is around $1,000, but since this video is sponsored by Best Buy and Intel, I thought we could double that budget of his. You know, 'tis the season after all. So let's go ahead and add this to the cart. One of the things I love about the Best Buy website is how easy everything is to find. All of their components are separated in categories. So for example, if I want to search for a motherboard, I go under products, computers and tablets, computer components, and then select whichever part I'm looking for. So in this case, motherboards are next. And boom, all the motherboards are listed right in front of me. And since we're using Intel's new 10th gen processor, we have to go with the compatible motherboard that works with the CPU. So in this case, we're gonna be going with the Z490 chipset. And the best way to figure out if your CPU is compatible with the motherboard is by looking at the socket type, which is labeled in the front of your CPU box. So in this case, the 10700K is compatible with an LGA 1200 socket. So we can go over here and filter that as well. So we're left with some pretty nice options to choose from. We do have a pretty high budget for this, so I want to give them a nice high-end board that has all the features that I'm looking for. My eye is on that Asus ROG Z490E Gaming. I think this has all the features that I am looking for the build. We got 4 DIMM slots, really good VRM coverage, and wireless AC, which is a big factor since he sits really far from his router. I mean, plus the board looks amazing. All right, so before I select the cooler, we have to figure out what case we're gonna go with for clearance reasons, but let's do that at the end of the video and select memory next. So once again, products, computers and tablets, components, and then memory RAM. So I definitely want something that looks good, but also offers the performance that he really needs. And since he's gonna be streaming and editing videos, we do wanna go with something with higher capacity. So let's go ahead and check off 32 gigs. I definitely wanna stick to 3200 megahertz. That is a sweet spot for Intel platforms, but I don't wanna go anything slower than CL16 timing. So let's mark that as well. The color scheme of the build is gonna be mostly black with RGB lighting. And of course, you can change the lighting to whatever color you want. So let's avoid white RAM sticks. Let's go ahead and select black. Those Corsair Vengeance RGB Pros are looking mighty fine, if I say so myself. But these are 2 16GB kits. I definitely want to populate all 4 DIMM slots because it looks a lot better that way. And plus, I've seen some benchmarks where using 4 sticks of RAM actually improves performance. So there's that. So we're just gonna buy 2 16GB kits with 8GB per module. So we're gonna add this to the cart. Let's take a quick look at the balance. We are at $824.96 so far with a savings of 57. So we're doing pretty good so far with the budget. So how much storage are you looking to put into your system?
I only have enough money for like maybe 240 gigs or something. But I also have a used 4TB hard drive that my friend gave me.
A hard drive, is it like external or internal, do you know?
What do you mean?
Like, does it go inside the PC or do you hook it up via like a USB cable or something?
Oh, it has like a USB cable on it.
Okay, so it's an external drive. Storage is up next. Let's see what we got. He does have a 4TB external hard drive, so technically he doesn't need a lot of storage, but it is a hard drive, so it's not as fast as I would like. An M.2 SSD is definitely gonna give him a nice boost in terms of speeds. I want his PC to boot up faster, but also I'm gonna tell him to install his applications and games that he uses mostly on the M.2. That way it just boots faster. So let's go ahead and add this too. Okay, man, the big question, what resolution do you want to game in? And what FPS, I guess, do you prefer?
Since I'm going to be streaming, I think like 1080p is good enough. But I do want to get like games to look really good, so probably like on high settings.
Okay, I guess so. What FPS would you like to achieve? And what games are you planning on playing?
Around like 144 frames, because I mainly play like CSGO and Pubg. I want to get like a 144 hertz monitor for Christmas as well.
Okay. All right, so for the GPU, he did state that he wants to game in 1080p with maxed out settings, and he's going to be using a 144 hertz monitor in December. So I think the RTX 3070 is going to be the perfect fit for this budget and for what he uses it for. And I so happen to have an NVIDIA RTX 3070 here at the office. All right, now let's look for a power supply to juice the system. I definitely want to go with a fully modular power supply to minimize cable clutter, and go with at least a gold certified power supply. 850 watts is definitely a bit overkill for this build, but you know, we do have a slightly higher budget, and I do want to future-proof this build, so if he does plan on upgrading anything later down the line, he's gonna be covered. I've used the RM850X so many times in previous builds, it has not let me down, so I'm gonna go with something I'm very familiar with, which is the RMX 850 watt from Corsair. All right, here's the final question. What kind of case do you want to go with? Do you have any ideas? Or I guess, what do you want your piece to look like?
I don't know really. Like, I have no clue what cases are out there. I just want something that isn't too big, so it fits on my desk. And I want it to look really cool.
So lots and lots of RGB then.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, I got you.
Oh, and something that's also quiet. Since I'm going to be streaming, I don't want the PC to be like too loud, you know?
Okay. See, now you're thinking like a PC builder. I actually didn't even think of that. All right, I think that's a lot of information to take in. So I'm gonna go ahead and look for parts on Best Buy to see what I can find to kind of match the style or match the same PC that you're gonna be building in December to kind of give you the best representation or practice, I should say, when we do build a PC like in a few weeks.
Yeah, sounds good. I can't wait to get started.
Alrighty, man. I'll shoot you a text maybe in a few weeks and then we'll get started.
All right, man.
All right, take care. All right, and before we take a look at the cooler, let's go ahead and select the case for this build. Computer components, cases. He did state he wants something that looks cool, has a bunch of RGB, and is small to fit on his desk. So we are using an ATX motherboard, so that's gonna help me narrow it down quite a bit. So motherboard size, ATX. Top of the list is the IQ220. Huh. I wonder if this comes with RGB fans. This would be awesome if it did. Let's go to overview, and yep, looks like it does. Includes 3 front-mounted 120mm RGB fans. That is actually a pretty good deal for $100. Okay, I see you, Corsair. The case itself looks pretty cool and pretty small, so I think he's gonna like this one. Let's add that to the cart. All right, and that leaves the CPU cooler. We are using a Corsair case with built-in RGB fans, Corsair memory, so I think it just makes sense to go with a Corsair cooler, just so we can control the lighting using the IQ software. It's gonna make Michael's life so much easier. So let's stick to Corsair. Let's filter to only coolers. Oh, those new Corsair coolers are looking really good, actually. I don't think I've used any of the new coolers in my builds yet. Let's take a closer look at these. I think we might have a winner. Yep, I think this is it, Chief. Let's go with the 240mm option, just because we do have a smaller case to work with. I don't want to run into any clearance issues. You know, picking out parts is fun and all, but I do want to let you guys know that Best Buy does sell pre-built PCs as well for those that don't really have the time or interest in building their own. In fact, they have Intel Extreme Master certified PCs exclusively available at Best Buy, and these systems are powered by 10th gen Intel Core processors. So if you guys want to check them out, I'll drop a link to it down below. All right, let's take a look at our total. We are looking at a total of $1369.92 with a savings of $137. So we did pretty good. So this plus the cost of the graphics card, we are looking at a little under $2,000. So we actually did really good in staying underneath the budget. So let's go ahead and check out, order these parts, and start the build. What's happening, guys? I'm TechSource. We finally got all the parts from Best Buy here at the studio, and we're about to build Michael's very first PC. He should be here any second now.
What up?
Whoa, what'd you get here?
I slept here last night.
All right. So yeah, pretty exciting day, man. We're building your very first PC. How do you feel?
I'm pretty excited because I'm building one next month, my own PC, and I feel like this would be good practice for me, you know? So.
Are you nervous at all?
A little bit, but I feel like since you're here, it's a lot more comforting.
How convenient is that? Your cousin has a channel, 3 million subscribers, building PCs.
It's pretty convenient.
Pretty convenient, I would say, yeah. So have you ever watched any tutorial out there on how to build a PC? Or this is your first time, like,
This is my first time, but I've seen kind of clips of people and I've watched your videos, so that kind of helps me understand a little bit, but not too much, you know.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, with that said, I'm not gonna actually show you how to build a PC. I'm gonna let you kind of do your own thing, but if you need any help, just you can use a lifeline, a limited amount of lifelines, and I'll come in and I'll show you what you need to do. All right, let's start. All right, Michael, so the very first step in PC building, do you know exactly what components you want to connect first?
I'm guessing what's on the table, right?
Yes, wise observation there. Do you know what 2 components you want to connect first?
The CPU and the SSD and the the RAM. I'm guessing the CPU and the motherboard, right?
CPU, motherboard, wise decision. So you're pretty much on your own. Let's see what you can do. If you need help, I'm gonna come in and show you how it's done. So let's do this.
Okay, that's pretty big actually. I didn't think it'd be this big. Okay,
So, okay, well, real quickly, grabbing the motherboard, we always want to grab it from the sides. Obviously, do not touch any of the components on the back, just to be on the safe side.
So this is where you actually connect the CPU and GPU and everything, right?
Yes, exactly. Think of the motherboard as the body, right? Everything plugs into the body, and the CPU is kind of like the brain. Without the CPU, the motherboard won't be able to function. What I like to do is kind of put the motherboard inside the box so it doesn't get damaged anywhere, and then we can start plugging the stuff inside. So if you want to go ahead and start opening up the CPU box.
Wow, that thing's tiny.
You destroyed this box. What? How'd you open it like this?
Well,
You could have used the knife to cut the tape.
how do you open this?
Demolish this box.
What is this? How do you open it? I can't even open a box, let alone build a PC.
All right, look, there's these two tabs over here, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
open up one, and then the other, and then you flip it over like that.
Okay. So this is it, right? The CPU.
That is the CPU, the Intel Core i7-10700K. Before we open the CPU, where do you want to place it? Where is it gonna go?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
Here?
Yep, that's literally the only place it looks like it's gonna go. We're gonna pop the CPU inside the motherboard. How do we get inside the CPU socket?
This mechanism right there.
All right, what are you gonna do with that?
Pull it?
Close enough.
Okay.
Push. We're gonna push and we're gonna extend it out.
Push it.
Push it down
Push it down. And then extend it.
and pull it out, yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Nice, okay, go on, proceed.
And then
Pull it up.
Pull it up.
Nice. So we're gonna grab the CPU by its sides, of course, and then we're going to match the triangle on the CPU to the triangle on the CPU socket.
So you just put it like that.
Yep, just let it go and then gently lower the cap down.
Okay.
Okay, now we can do the lever.
Okay.
And just put it back in its original spot. Don't touch the cap.
It's not
Oh
going
yeah,
down.
oh look, it's fine, don't be scared. A lot of people are
Why does it
scared.
pop it out?
It's fine, it's supposed to pop actually. A lot of people get freaked out. Keep going, and on there the lever, perfect. Now you can go ahead and remove the black piece.
Just pull it.
Yeah, just pull it out, that's it.
Okay.
How was that?
That's pretty easy.
It's kind of scared because you don't know how much pressure to push on the lever, right? So yeah, if this is
Because
the
I know
first
this
time,
is all very delicate kind
yeah,
of things, right?
you're right. So don't be afraid to add some pressure on the lever to kind of fully close it down. So
Okay.
the CPU's inside the board. What do you want to install next?
I guess the RAM. You know, I feel like that's just a simple click, right?
Okay, you are not wrong. There you go.
Okay.
How are you gonna install this on the motherboard? Actually, do you know where it goes on the board?
I'm guessing this slot, this portion right here.
Wonderful observation. Okay, let's go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
What's the first thing you do before you install it?
Maybe like unlock it.
Unlock it. Yeah, you can use that term, I guess.
Okay.
How are you gonna unlock the RAM slots?
You know, I honestly, let me be honest
Just
with
look
you.
at it. Just look at it closely. What can you move on there so you can install these sticks?
This.
There we
and
go.
That. Or that
Some
doesn't
boards
push back?
actually you can do on both sides, but this one you can only do on one.
Oh, so you have to on 4.
Yeah,
and just
there
pop
you
it
go.
down.
Perfect.
Okay.
So here you go. Here's your first RAM.
Okay, so we just pop it in here, right?
Yeah, so the direction definitely matters. The best way to tell is by looking at the gap from the memory stick and by matching it with the notch on the actual DIMM slot.
You said you have to just match this
A line.
a line.
Yeah.
Just snap it down till it clicks.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay.
Once the tab is fully seated over here, that means that the RAM is fully seated. So I would just say you're feeling so far just by installing these components.
Pretty easy.
Is it easy pickup, easy to learn?
Yeah, not
Okay.
too difficult.
Good to know, good to know. All right, so now we got that installed. Obviously, the only thing left to do is install the M.2 SSD. Here's your screwdriver.
Okay, that's a pretty big screwdriver.
Yes, it is.
This is like a.
Why are you holding it like a pen?
I just, it's just huge. Like.
You hold it like this, or look, you can press this button and
Ah. Just lift it up.
yep, lift it up, and there you go. There is your M.2 SSD slot. So go ahead and take out the M.2.
How much memory is this?
This is a 1 terabyte M.2 SSD. So very similar to the memory that we installed recently,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna be matching the gap from the SSD
Right.
to the notch on the actual drive.
Oh,
There we go.
it's supposed to stick out like that?
No, we're supposed to lower it down and
Oh,
screw it
okay.
in place.
Okay, just pop that back.
Yeah, just basically put it back to where you got it.
Okay.
All right, Michael. So all three of the components are installed.
Okay.
We are pretty much, I would say, halfway done with the build.
Really?
No.
Oh.
We have a lot more to do. But what do you want to do next? What do you think is the next step?
I'm guessing the GPU.
No, the GPU is actually
Oh.
going to be the last thing we're going to plug into the motherboard.
Ah, man, that's a toughie.
Well, there's only there's the cooler, there's the
Okay.
case, power supply, and the graphics card. 4 components.
Power
left.
supply.
Where are we going to plug in the power supply if there's no case?
Ah, that's true, actually. I don't know the answer to that.
So probably the case, right? You want to put the motherboard inside the case.
Yes.
And then we can plug in the rest of the components. So actually, before we put the motherboard inside the case, we want to get the CPU set up for the cooler, right? Because it's going to be really difficult to install the bracket on there if the motherboard is already mounted inside the case. So let's go ahead and install the first half of the cooler. Go ahead and take this out of the box.
Okay. This is a very different type of box. Oh, wow.
Those are the
These are
fans.
What is this ginormous thing?
That would be the radiator.
Oh.
And that small thing over there is the pump. I know it looks a little scary at first, but it's actually really easy to install. We're not gonna use all of this because
Okay.
we're only gonna be using the Intel bracket since we're using an Intel CPU. So out of all these bags over here, we're gonna look for one that says Intel because we're using an Intel CPU.
Okay.
So this is the one over here. We're gonna remove the bracket. And I'm pretty sure you know what happens with this one.
Right, you just
Hold on to it. Where do you think that goes?
Right over here.
Close enough actually.
No?
It goes
Okay.
it goes in from the back.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. But go ahead and peel off the sticker first.
Sticker.
It was,
Nah, a little bit. Here we go. Seems right.
Okay, so grab onto the bracket and then flip the motherboard over so it stays in place, it doesn't fall out. Flip it and then lay it flat. Make sure the bracket doesn't fall as you're placing the board down.
Okay.
Perfect. Every CPU box always has the socket type right on the box itself.
Okay.
So this one says what?
1200.
LGA 1200, right?
Okay.
So now, do you know which ones to use?
Oh, I'm guessing this one since it says 1200.
Exactly.
Ah, here you go.
Okay, so now the board is prepped for the next step, which is
The fans.
where are we gonna plug the fans? We need to have a case for so we can install fans and stuff, right?
Okay.
So
next step is to put this into the case.
exactly.
Right.
All right. So it's gonna push us to the side real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna
pretty,
bring out the big boy case.
Okay, I know how to do this part actually.
Do you?
Yeah, just unscrew this, right, to open it.
Oh well. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You got this.
Okay, just gently. Can't see that. Okay, seems
It looks
right.
good. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. Now we're ready to
Screw it in.
screw it in. Exactly. All right, so we did run into a little pickle. We don't have enough clearance to mount the radiator on the top as exhaust because the fans are coming in contact with the RAM sticks, unfortunately. So our only option is to mount the radiator in the front and use it as intake.
There it is.
That's one way to get them out. And now we gotta remove these 3 fans. So here's a screwdriver.
Ah!
Here's how we're gonna install the radiator. We're gonna have it facing like this. And the fans are gonna be sitting in front of the radiator so that it's pulling in fresh air through the radiator.
Okay.
So we're gonna mount the fans right in front on here.
And that'll still be able to close?
Yeah. All right, so we got the radiator installed inside the case with the fans. What are you gonna do next? We have two parts pretty much left, the graphics card and the power supply.
What would make it easier, to put the power supplies first or the graphics card?
Remember I said the graphics card is always the last component?
Yeah.
So we should probably...
Put the graphics card.
Actually, before we do the power supply, we probably want to hook up the cooler to the CPU, right? Because it's kind of hanging right now. So sometimes we have to apply thermal paste to the CPU before we put the cooler on, but this cooler actually comes with thermal paste already pre-applied. So all we gotta do is remove the cover, slap it on, and screw it in place. So pretty easy. I always try and position the cables near the top so it's easy for cable management. That's perfect, actually. All right, AIO is officially installed. Actually, before we even install the power supply, you wanna go ahead and hook up the other two exhaust fans. So the way you wanna position these fans is by looking at the arrows located on the side of the fans. And since we're gonna be positioning these as exhaust, we want the arrows pointing to the top, right? That's good. All the fans are officially installed. What do you want to do next?
Power supply?
Power supply. Beautiful. I think it's on your side over there. Do you know where the power supply goes?
At the bottom?
At the bottom. Where exactly on the bottom?
Probably where everything could be connected. So like maybe here or here. No, the GPU is going here. GPU goes here.
I want you to show them where you originally pointed for the power supply.
Here.
Where the graphics card is supposed to go. It was a good guess, but what's your second guess?
Maybe
there we go.
I was like, well, what's this giant space at the bottom?
And
Jeez,
power
that thing
supply.
is big.
Yes, it is.
So does the size of the power supply matter? So like to kind of power everything?
Not the size, but the wattage of the power supply matters. For example, for this entire system, I would say 650 watts is plenty, but we're going with 850 just because to kind of future-proof it as well for any future upgrades for this system.
So every single thing is plugged into this. This is what powers.
Yes,
Okay.
this is what powers. This is what gives power to the entire system. You are correct. You're learning something. That's good. That's good. So this is the power supply, and these are the cables. These are all cables, but the beauty about this power supply is that it's fully modular. That means all the cables are disconnected. So we can plug in only the cables that we're gonna use for this system.
So I'm gonna start with this one because it says CPU. Just pop that in there, right? Or do you have to?
The clip always faces the hole.
Ah.
Yeah.
Just that. So this big one, I'm assuming, is the
4-pin.
motherboard.
That's the 24 pin, yeah, the motherboard.
Yes. Okay.
Where does that plug in?
That will be going here. This way, correct?
We'll find out. Nice.
Okay.
Do you know how to place the power supply? The fan facing up or the fan facing down?
Of course, facing down.
Why?
No, up. No, wait. Let me think about this. So heat's coming from here, and you want to exert it out. So the fan would be facing.
This is the fan just for the power supply to supply fresh cold air. To the power
Oh, then
supply.
out.
The exhaust for the power supply is over here. Is out. So the hot air exhausts out from the outside.
Oh,
The air comes in from here.
Okay.
So where do you want the cold air to come in, or fresh air to come in from the power supply? From the top or from the bottom?
I would assume the bottom.
You assume correct. Also, if you look at the case,
Okay.
you can see ventilation. You can see cutouts on the bottom. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what the fan is for. So you
Yeah.
can bring in fresh air from the bottom of the case.
Okay.
So.
This is coming back though, right?
Yeah, it's coming back.
So this is gonna also power the PC. You plug this into the outlet.
Yeah,
right?
we have the cable for this.
Okay. Honestly, I thought making a PC would be a lot harder. But once you do it,
It's pretty easy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Were you intimidated when you made your first PC?
Kind of. Actually, it was in a very similar situation than you are right now. I had a friend help me build my first PC. So I didn't feel as intimidated because I knew I had support. My friend actually built a few PCs before, so he knew what he was doing. And he kind of guided me through my first build, and that's how I learned.
What was the like best PC in your opinion that you've made?
That I've built in my life?
Yeah.
I'll probably have to say Big Red, my personal rig, was my favorite all time.
Big Red, huh?
Big Red version 3, yes. All right, power supply's in, looks like. You did a pretty good job with that.
Okay.
Now is...
Connecting the cables.
Actually, even before we connect the cables, let's go ahead and
GPU.
plug... Yeah, let's plug in the graphics card, and then we can plug everything at once. Before we install the GPU, we gotta remove the brackets in the back of the case. Huh? Take that off too, yeah. All right, Michael is gonna do the honors and plug in the graphics card.
Doesn't look like it's going in.
What do you mean?
Like there's no room. I think this thing's like kind of blocking it.
The radiator?
Yeah.
Hold up, let me try. Oh no. The GPU is so wide that it's coming in contact with the radiator. This was not originally planned because we wanted to mount the AIO on the top, but because of the high profile RGB RAM, we were forced to mount it in the front. So I think what we have to do here is improvise. We're gonna try and see if we can move these fans closer to the front to kind of allow some more space inside the case so we can plug in the graphics card. The only issue with that is that we won't be able to use the dust filter, but as long as it works, it works. All right, so we improvised and we installed the fans on this side of the case, freeing up about 1 inch of clearance inside. So Michael, do you want to do the honors
Yes, sir.
of installing the graphics card now?
Yep, looks like it'll fit.
Beautiful. Yes. Oh my God, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. After, how long have you been here?
A few hours.
4 hours, I think.
Yeah.
PC is finally done, looking super gorgeous. I'm gonna try not to drop it. I wanna let you do the honors of
Okay.
firing it on. Let's switch places.
2.
You forgot to hit the switch.
Oh.
I knew that. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for it.
All right, 3, 2. Oh wow, that's a lot of lights. I wasn't expecting that many lights.
RGB galore.
That looks good, actually.
That looks amazing. All right, so we are running Pubg ultra settings. What resolution is this? 1080p?
Yeah.
1080p. You want to change it to 1440?
Sure.
All right, 1440 in ultra settings. Let's go. We're getting a little over 144 FPS in the air. We'll see the actual frames when we get to that, though. GPU sitting under 70 degrees C. CPU hovering around 40 degrees C. Those are some really cool temps. How does the gameplay feel like coming from a console?
A lot smoother, for sure. Like you and I hit these frames on console.
Right. Is it that much more smooth, you think, playing on the PC?
Yeah, for sure. It's just night and day.
Night and day. Nice.
Yeah.
So Michael, PC's finally done. What is your final verdict out of 10 if you were to rate it for aesthetics and performance?
I'll give it like a 9.
9.
Pretty good.
Solid.
Very good.
For your first build, I think that's a pretty solid number. So
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too hard. I actually learned a lot. You know, I think I'm pretty confident to like make my own PC at this point. You know?
would you say you have enough confidence to build your own PC next time without any help?
Yeah.
Really?
I would say so, yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give my subscribers who are watching this video who have never built a PC before but really want to and are kind of afraid to take that first step?
Just don't be so intimidated because it's really not as hard as it seems. Like coming into it, I didn't know much about building PCs, but Now having more hands-on with the parts and everything, it's a lot more straightforward. And if you need help, you can watch tutorials, and Edgar, I'm sure, has a few of those on his channel.
I do have some tutorials.
yeah.
What would you say was like the hardest part of building a PC?
The cables, for sure.
Like plugging the cables in?
Yeah, just finding certain connections and ports. But you know, once you kind of understand this has 8-pin and 12-pin or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You just kind of fit into motherboards and the power supply. It's pretty straightforward.
Fair enough. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Now you're pretty much ready to build your own PC in December, right?
Yeah, next month.
Nice. Have you already got the parts yet or no?
Still no.
Still no, you're gonna plan it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's actually one thing I forgot to mention is that this is actually your PC.
Really?
Yeah, we actually built your first PC. You get to keep it.
No way.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, okay, thanks, man. So I don't have to build a PC.
You don't have to build a PC.
I mean, I already built it myself. So.
Does that change your rating? Instead
No.
of a 9, is it a 10 now because it's yours?
Yeah, it's a 10. Wait, are you serious? This is mine?
Yeah.
Why?
You thought I was joking?
Yeah.
No, this is your PC. Yeah, we actually built your PC right here.
Why would you build this?
Why not? Technically, I could have kept it, but I want to give it to you.
But I have to give it back.
No, I was kidding.
Really?
I was kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome, man. Yeah, you saved a bunch of time shopping around, and you wanted the parts. These are the parts you actually wanted to put in your PC as well, like the processor, the GPU, the amount of RAM. So I saved you all the hard
Hassle.
work, the hassle too. Yeah. So Michael, congrats on your new PC. I'm sure you're pretty thrilled. Just in time for Christmas too.
Yeah, thank you, man.
You're welcome, dude. Just make sure to toss me an invite for squad sometimes on PUBG.
Yeah, no
Then
problem.
We'll slap some noobs around. But I'll drop a link to all the parts down below that I used in Michael's PC if you guys want to check it out. A huge thanks to Intel and Best Buy for sponsoring this video. You guys are awesome. Make sure to check out Master of Game by clicking my link down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Peace.
See ya.